Gentle storytelling music begins and fades into the background. Hello, and welcome back to our channel. Today, I want to share a story with you, a timeless tale that has been whispered through generations about courage, honesty, and a very special elephant. So, find a cozy spot, relax, and let's journey together to a kingdom long, long ago. In a lush and vibrant land ruled by a wise and just king, a time of great change was approaching. The king, having ruled for many years, knew he needed to find a successor, a new chief who would lead with the same wisdom and integrity that he had. But how could he find such a leader? He didn't want the strongest or the loudest, he wanted the most honest. So, the king devised a plan, a test unlike any other. He summoned all the animals of his kingdom to the grand royal courtyard. From the nimble monkey to the proud lion, from the clever fox to the gentle deer, they all gathered, their eyes filled with curiosity and anticipation. What great announcement did their beloved king have for them? The king, with a warm but serious expression, addressed the assembly. "My loyal subjects," he began, his voice echoing through the courtyard. "The time has come for me to choose a new chief to guide our kingdom. The leader of our land must be a beacon of truth." He then presented each animal with a small, simple object, a single seed. "Take this seed," the king instructed, "plant it, care for it, and nurture it with all your skill. In 1 year's time, return to this very spot and show me what you have grown. The one who presents the most magnificent plant will be named the new chief of the kingdom." A buzz of excitement filled the air. Each animal took their seed, their minds already racing with visions of towering trees and spectacular blossoms. They dreamed of the honor and prestige that would come with being the new chief. They scurried away, clutching their seeds, each one determined to grow the most impressive plant the kingdom had ever seen. Among them was a kind and thoughtful elephant. He took his seed with great care, his heart filled with a quiet determination. He found the perfect pot, filled it with the richest soil he could find, and gently placed the seed inside. He watered it every single day, ensuring it had just the right amount of sunlight and shade. He spoke to it, encouraging it to grow strong and beautiful. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. Across the kingdom, a miraculous transformation was taking place. The animals' pots were bursting with life. There were vibrant flowers in every color of the rainbow, lush green leaves that shimmered in the sun, and even small trees beginning to bear fruit. The air was filled with the sweet scent of blossoms and the proud chatter of the animals, each boasting about their horticultural success. The monkey showed off a vine that climbed high into the sky, covered in brilliant red flowers. The bear displayed a sturdy bush laden with sweet, juicy berries. The peacock fanned its tail proudly next to a plant with leaves as iridescent as its own feathers. The forest was a testament to their efforts, a tapestry of green and gold. But amidst all this flourishing life, one pot remained stubbornly bare. It was the elephant's pot. Despite his constant care, his daily watering, and his hopeful words, his seed showed no sign of life. The soil remained just as it was the day he planted it empty. The elephant felt a growing sense of disappointment and shame. He checked the soil, he moved the pot to different locations, he tried everything he could think of, but nothing worked. His seeds simply would not grow. As the year drew to a close, the other animals began preparing their magnificent plants for the journey back to the king's palace. They polished the leaves and tied ribbons around the pots, their chests puffed out with pride. The elephant watched them, his heart heavy. He had nothing to show but an empty pot of dirt. He felt like a failure. He considered not going to the palace at all to avoid the embarrassment. But then he remembered the king's emphasis on truth. He knew that hiding would be a lie, and that was not in his nature. So, with a heavy heart and his head bowed low, the elephant picked up his empty pot and began the long walk to the royal courtyard. He felt the curious and sometimes pitying stares of the other animals as he passed them on the path, their own creations towering over his barren pot. He felt small and ashamed, but he walked on, determined to face the king with the truth. The day of judgment arrived. The royal courtyard was a spectacular sight, a veritable jungle of the most amazing plants imaginable. The king walked slowly through the crowd, inspecting each creation. He nodded politely at the lioness towering sunflower and smiled at the rabbitess delicate array of fragrant herbs. The air was thick with anticipation. Who would be chosen? Finally, the king reached the edge of the crowd, where the elephant stood silently, trying to hide his empty pot behind his large legs. The king noticed him. "Elephant," he called out gently, "come forward. Show me what you have grown." The elephant trembled slightly. He slowly shuffled forward, the eyes of every animal in the kingdom fixed on him. He placed his barren pot at the king's feet and bowed his head in shame. "Your Majesty," he said, his voice barely a whisper, "I am sorry. I tried my very best. I watered it every day and gave it the best care I could, but my seed never grew. I have failed." The other animals began to snicker and whisper amongst themselves. "An empty pot," one said. "He has no chance," said another, but the king did not laugh. Instead, a slow, wise smile spread across his face. He raised his hand for silence. "Behold your new chief." The king announced, his voice ringing with authority and pride. The animals gasped. There was a stunned silence, followed by a confused murmur. How could the elephant, with his empty pot, be the new chief? The king explained. "1 year ago," he said, looking at each animal in turn, "I gave you all a seed. But what I did not tell you was that every single seed I gave you had been boiled. They were cooked. It was impossible for them to ever grow." A wave of shock and realization washed over the crowd. The animals looked down at their own beautiful, thriving plants and then at each other, their faces a mixture of confusion and dawning shame. The king continued, his gaze resting kindly on the elephant. "When your seeds failed to sprout, you all became desperate to impress me. You replaced the seed I gave you with another one, and you brought me these beautiful plants and flowers. You chose deception over honesty. Only the elephant had the courage and integrity to come back with an empty pot. He alone was honest enough to admit his failure." The king turned to the elephant, whose eyes were now wide with disbelief. "You alone told the truth. That is the quality I seek in a leader. Honesty, integrity, and the courage to face the truth, even when it is difficult. You shall lead our kingdom." A great cheer erupted from the crowd. The animals, humbled and inspired, applauded their new leader. They understood now the true nature of the king's test. It wasn't about gardening skills, it was a test of character. From that day forward, the elephant ruled the kingdom with the same honesty and integrity he had shown with the seed. He led with fairness and kindness, and the kingdom prospered in an era of unprecedented peace and trust. The moral of this beautiful story is simple yet profound. Truth may seem to grow slowly, and sometimes it may feel like you have nothing to show for it. But in the end, truth always bears the best and most lasting fruit. It is the foundation of trust, respect, and true leadership. Thank you so much for joining me for this story today. I hope it brought a little bit of wisdom and warmth to your day. If you enjoyed it, please consider giving this video a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel for more stories that inspire and uplift. We'd love to have you as part of our community. Until next time, remember to be true to yourself. Bye for now.